Welcome to the Lummy Sports Show. Minus Brian, but as always, the Filthy will be here picking up Brian's slack.
What's up, buddy?
Good morning, Rhett.
How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. It is Wednesday. It's officially the weekend. Thursday, Friday off.
Yeah, you got a lot of plans for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm hanging out with my dad and the rest of my family from out of town. It's been good seeing them. We've been hanging out at Indian Rocks Beach. The hasn't been sun and fun, but it's been nice enough to where you can go outside and sit on the beach for a few hours. It's been cool.
Well, I would say that you're not probably too disappointed that there's not much sun by the beach.
Yeah, not really.
Because you don't seem like a beach guy. I mean, not a bitch guy, but a beach guy.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm not the biggest beach guy in general. I do like the beach. I said on the after show yesterday, I think that I like going to Daytona Beach usually because it's just there's a lot of good people watching, and I don't know, it's nostalgic for me, you know. So I like the beach atmosphere, but I don't like sand in my ass or anything like that.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I haven't been. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the last time I went in
The Gulf?
Well, it went in any ocean water. Well, I mean, it hasn't been so long that I couldn't tell you, but it's been easily probably 5 or 6 years since I've stepped foot in the ocean.
Or the Gulf or the ocean or anything that's like, because you used to go over to lots of Daytona Beach, right?
Yeah, I still do.
I'll
I'll go
back?
usually like once a year, once, twice.
So you just stay back? I mean, do you not like the way the water, the texture on your skin, or you just maybe your skin's allergic to it?
Sand gets everywhere. If you roll out there with just a towel and, sand gets all over your shit. It gets in your bag. It gets on your stuff. So I like rolling out usually with a chair, like a lawn chair works, or renting something works. Sometimes walking on the beach is nice too.
Now, Dan brought it up, I think it was the other day in Hot Mic. Have you ever had sexual relations on the beach?
Dan brought this up? Oh.
Yeah, Dan said something about it, so I was seeing about you, though.
No, that's messy. That's messy. There's too many people, sand gets everywhere, and if you go in the ocean, like, that's not good for you.
Have you ever had the opportunity to do it?
Probably, but like I never was so close to where it was, oh, let's do this right here, right now. Like it wasn't anything that spicy or exciting.
813-90-BUBBA, 813-90 Bubba, call in. We're minus Brian. Brian, which I still don't understand for the last 2 years, was Mr. COVID when everything was going down, and now he is going on cruise ships, and he's a big cruise guy.
Everybody's phoning it in this week. I know Bubba's legitimately sick, and I hope he feels better. But like Brian, took a cruise, didn't give a shit about the #1 sports show in Tampa on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. So here we are, time change, going to 10:30.
Yeah, Bubba's obviously sick, so we jumped ahead. Me and Bubba were going to do the question and answer show. That was going to be podcast exclusive.
I was looking forward to that.
And I was working on a lot of questions. I reached out to a lot of fans. Fans emailed me, and I went up to, I texted or emailed a lot of super fans that I knew would probably have some interesting questions. I came up with some of my own. And I kind of was excited.
You would think by natural selection, by the way, it would just go to Monday.
Most likely. And I have questions ready, so I'm not too worried. If he wants to
do the podcast on Monday anyways. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if he wants to do it Monday or Tuesday or anytime next week, I'm perfectly fine with it. I got some good questions. My whole nervousness on that is, one, what really can I get into? And two, this type of questioning starting out, do I start kind of slow and easing in or just deep dive into some stuff?
Did you ever watch the Concrete episode he was on?
Yeah. I
feel like that's a good baseline for how you should conduct it because he was pretty relaxed asking Bubba some, not super personal questions, but some heavier questions.
True, but that's kind of a little different though. One, he didn't know or has been in the building on the backstory. So
yeah, that's fair.
In Bubba's eyes,
that's fair.
He knows kind of.
There's still kind of a level of vague, I guess.
Yes, exactly. And maybe a couple of questions are too far out, or Bubba just made that's a stupid question. you know, that in the concrete guy go, maybe look, I don't really know Bubba. I listened to him, you know, from 98 Rock and 1025. But me, if I ask a question, Bubba may be like, Lummy, you know, that's a dumb question, or you know, who cares? Why ask it?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think journalistic integrity viewpoint on this, you know, sometimes you get a question that's not well received, you just kind of brush it off and move on. I know it can be tough with Bubba in particular, but I mean, you know what questions not to ask.
Oh no, I didn't mean like a dangerous question that Bubba would be pissed that I asked it. I'm talking about a question that Bubba just found stupid. You know, like a random one, like
I don't think he's gonna. I think he's looking forward to this too. To be honest with you, and I don't think he's gonna go into this with that lens of, you know, taking a crap on it. Like, I think he does legit wanna.
And there were some good questions.
He loves having a platform, you know what I mean? Going on other shows and stuff like this too. There's a lot of questions that like diehard Bubba Army want to know.
And they do, and there's a couple good ones about certain topics that I was like, oh, I don't 100% know Bubba wouldn't, you know, mind it. It was just, do I start off with those or kind of ease it in, or does Bubba want to go right off the bat? I guess I'll figure it out, you know, when we do it.
You could ask him to start the show, to be honest with you. He'd probably tell you to go full throttle.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, come out, but
just
I don't want to
come out swinging.
There's been a couple questions that are like the most, everyone just keeps asking and asking and asking. So I may just save that one, obviously, to the end. I actually reached out to Wizzy. Wizzy's in chat. She used to do State of the Bubba back in the day on Sirius and get different questions.
Right.
From fans and ask them. And I feel like that's kind of I may not do as well as Heather Wiz did, Hall of Famer Heather Wiz, but I'm going to try my best to do it. And Red, if you have any questions you want to ask, because I know you used to listen back in the day, and especially your dad. Your dad was a big Bubba fan too, right?
Yeah, he was. I'll have to think of some. I could probably ask him. Oh, you know what? Damn it. I know the question. You actually may be able to answer this for me. I hope you can. Did they mention that there is still one place you can buy his chicken dip, or was that?
Yeah, they've mentioned it.
Where is that? Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where it is?
It's by his old house in Terra Verde. It's a deli.
And they still get his chicken dip, like Bubba, his recipe?
Yeah, Bubba gave him the recipe.
Okay, so Bubba has the recipe.
I don't know, Bubba. I mean, I just know there's some deli. There's a deli that when you pull out, and I know Blitz knows the name of it. Bayside, I think it's Bayside. It's something. It's when you pull out of his neighborhood, it's like on the left-hand side. So it's when you're going to St. Pete Beach, the Don Cesar, that road going straight down where the bridge is. There's a little market on your left, and they still carry it.
No kidding. And it's like same brand, same label, everything?
No, it's like they make it in-house, but they make it the way that Bubba made it, or, you know, whatever, when they were making it.
I'm going to,
The back nine guys and Bubba.
I'm going to have to make that happen, because that was a question, honestly, from my dad, and he wanted me to come in here and ask Bubba at work.
You know what? I can also bring up some of the chicken. I know he's talked about it before, but not everyone listens every day.
So good, dude.
It was good.
Shame. We used to get it by the tubs. Like, I'm telling you, when I was growing up, we would have 8 to 10 tubs at a time of Bubba's chicken dip.
Oh,
we'd
from
have
the Publix?
Yeah, we'd have it was at Publix for like what, a month, and then they stopped.
I don't know.
Because before I thought you could get it like Winn-Dixie
and Walgreens.
Yeah, we would get it there, and we'd get like 4 or 5 of the black label, and then 4 or 5 of the blue label.
The blue cheese. I think that was. Yeah. He had 3. I think he had 3 of them, and those were great for watching football.
God, they were awesome, man. We were literally sitting around eating chicken dip the other night, and like, it's good, but it wasn't like Bubba's good.
It's not as good. You mean the Publix one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not as good. Speaking of football and watching this weekend, there's a lot of big games going on, and I know there's one Thursday. That's not as big. Mississippi Ole Miss. I know Lane Kiffin. There's been rumors that he's going to leave.
Well, did you see? He kind of faced it. You know, he came out and flat denied it.
Which Lane Kiffin, I believe, has done before too.
Yes, and
I think he did it at Tennessee, or maybe it was USC. But I think maybe it was Tennessee because he was only there for 1 year.
Honestly, I'm not too caught up on Lane Kiffin, at least coming out and facing reports like that. But he does strike me as a coach that isn't going to fold. Unlike another guy, I want to get your opinion on here in a second. You may know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, so there's some big games going on in college football. I mean, I know you do watch college football.
Yeah.
And
casually.
A lot of people have asked me, what my take is on the Michigan-Ohio State game Saturday. I'm actually looking forward to another game that's on Friday, and it's a Florida State game.
I wanted to ask you about that one, actually. I mean, honestly, from the perspective of a Gators fan, I feel like Florida State's about to mop the floor with us. But I don't know. It also is one of those things where I don't want to say the Gators have played up to their competition this year because that hasn't always been the case. Because they played
down to their competition.
I mean,
they
have just blown games that they should have won. You know what I mean? It is one of those things. Like USF, for example, should have never been in that game to begin with.
No. You could tell it's almost like they took it off.
Florida State's 8-3. They're kind of rolling. You just kind of wonder who's going to show up.
Well, as a Gator fan,
I feel like the Gators do have a better chance than I think they do to win, but
as a Gator fan, what's your take? Because is it kind of disappointing going in? Because I remember even when you say Miami, Florida State, it seems like these Florida,
how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of lackluster now in the last, I would say, 5 years, maybe even more,
probably longer,
especially with Florida State and Miami.
I mean, the last time Florida was legitimately, I think, contending for a national championship, and that was what felt like 75% of the season. I won't even say contending for a national championship because after a certain point you knew it wasn't going to happen, but that Kyle Trask team was probably the best team they've had in a little bit under Mullen.
What was that, 16, 17?
18.
18?
18, 19, I thought.
Yeah, I haven't followed the Gator. I mean, I try to keep up with most of the Florida colleges, but I mean, that used to be a really big deal, kind of almost like the Florida State Miami, where it was depending on who would be in the national championship game, and now Florida being 6-5, Florida State number 16. Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'll watch it. It's a game I like watching every year. Well, we got a little in-house rivalry.
Yeah, because I mean, right now you're looking at Michigan, Ohio State. That's 2-3. That was down for a little bit. I mean, obviously everyone props the Big Ten up a lot more than because the national media, I don't think really likes SEC football,
right?
Or even ACC or anything really in the South.
Ratings though.
It does get ratings because a lot of people do. I mean, it's a different brand of football than Michigan and Ohio State, but Michigan, Ohio State right now it's Michigan at Ohio State. I'm almost going Michigan. I mean, I don't know how much you've watched of it, but it's a 7.5 point spread, and I know it's in Ohio.
Michigan got the win last year at home, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And that was the first time they had beat Ohio State at home.
In a long time.
In a long-ass time. They're going to carry some of that, but I think playing in Ohio State's going to be tough. And I hate to say it, as much as I do not like Ohio State, you do have to give them credit because they have been winning games. Brian would say the same thing. They have been handily beating opponents. I
know. He said it last week, and I tried to call him out with the Northwestern, and then he came up with his excuses. So
I do just think they are the better team, and I think playing at home is going to give them that advantage. You know what I mean? That's a big deal in a game like this. It's going to be the most packed Michigan's going to be all year. They're number 3. They're playing well. They're going to be loud.
641.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Brandon?
Hey, but I'm doing all right.
Ohio State,
but
sorry.
Don't forget that Michigan's running back injured, though, so he might not play very long.
Isn't it one of the Ohio State players injured, or is that a different school? I thought they were one of their wide receivers out. Maybe he's just not that big of a guy. So are you picking Ohio State then? Because right now the line is at 7.5.
I'm gonna go with Ohio State, but the crazy part is when Iowa beats Nebraska, they're going to be going to the Rose Bowl, even if they lose the Big Ten championship.
Iowa?
Yeah.
They're still in it? I mean, what are they riding off their defense?
Because if Iowa beats Nebraska, they're going to the Big Ten championship.
I know, but Brandon, I mean, I understand you're a big Iowa fan, but how do you watch that kind of football? I mean, I know a lot of people like watching defensive football, but I mean, week after week.
It is boring. But I'm just saying we're gonna get our ass kicked 2 weeks in the championship game and the bowl game.
Well, I'm looking at your guys'. Oh, I guess you guys went. Oh, wow. Okay, Northwestern, Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Okay, well that explains it. And you lost to Michigan. I mean, Ohio State scored 54 on you. You only let Michigan score 27 on you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess one was at Ohio State and one was at. Okay, man, you guys. 7-4, and you're gonna go to the Rose Bowl, huh?
Yeah, if we beat Nebraska, because the Big Ten champion will probably go to the playoff.
I mean, come on, Nebraska's down. Have they won a game since Frost was fired?
They won one.
Yeah, they're 3-8. Oh, Big Ten.
Well, we're 10.5-point favorite to win at home.
Oh, they beat Rutgers. Oh, and Indiana. So they won 2 after Frost was fired, which he's a candidate, I guess, for the USF football team. Wow. Well,
But
hey, you know what? Have fun. By the way, have fun watching that game, Iowa and Nebraska. Whew.
Yeah, the over though, like 37.5, I think.
Let's see here. Iowa. What's the spread on that game right now? Do you know off
It's
the top?
10.5.
Yeah. Wow. Nebraska under 10, 38. Yeah. Wow. I would almost probably take Nebraska at plus 10.5. That's a big spread.
Well, I take the points on that too, because Iowa doesn't score more than 13 points.
Yeah, no kidding. 10. Actually, yeah, I think. Oh, they scored. Actually, you know, Brandon, I'm sorry, you're wrong. They scored more than 13 points a couple times.
Twice, I think.
Yeah, well, man, Jesus. Oh, wow, 0, 10, 14.
I mean, especially in college, that's just brutal.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Lack of production is always sucky on like a defensive anchored team, but
They need to fire the coach's son, but they won't do it.
He's offense coordinator, right? Or is he?
Yeah.
And wasn't he up for some NFL jobs?
Well, he already said that he wants to get back in the NFL, so maybe they'll take him off our hands.
Do you like the head coach? What's his name? Kirk
Ferentz?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just been there way too long.
Oh, so you're ready. So you're one of those fans like they did at Penn State. Well, Penn State was a little different, I guess. Florida State, the guys that have been hanging around too long, you're just ready to kick them out?
Yeah, I'd rather lose with a new coach and get new philosophy in it than just being mediocre with just an old-ass coach.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes that backfires on you when you get that new coach, and then you start going, 3-9.
what's that? What's the best record that old ass coach has ever had?
We went 11-1 in 2002. We lost to Iowa State.
2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's your best. I mean, they haven't topped that at all since.
But we've gone 10-2 and won a lot of bowls. We won the Orange Bowl in 2009, I think it is.
Okay, so they haven't done shit at all in the last decade?
Well, not like... Well, we've won shitty bowls, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that brings in the money too, right? I mean, you got to think about that. They're playing in those shitty bowls, but they are getting some money.
Right.
Yeah, it's $9 a beer at the stadium.
Well, Brandon, that's why you got to sneak it in. Are you not sneaking in your beer when you go to the stadium?
Well, I'm not going to do it at the wrestling match because I got season tickets. I don't want the wrestling coach to kick my ass.
Oh, come on, Brandon. You know they don't give two shits. You could sneak as much alcohol in there. It's like, it's just Brandon being Brandon. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, every time I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to wear my Bubba Army clothes. I'm not even going to wear any Iowa clothes. I'm going to get Bubba Army on the Big Ten Network.
Well, we'll be looking for you.
All right.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch any Iowa football, Red.
Yeah, it is a slog. I mean, every single time. It's like watching Pittsburgh football. You know what I mean? Where it's just like no scoring. You'll get a couple of big defensive plays, but it is just hard to sit through.
Well, and I think that's what's helping Michigan and Ohio State at these stages in the Big Ten.
You know, did you actually see?
They kind of changed it up.
You know what the most expensive college game day ticket is this Saturday or this weekend?
Well, I mean, I would say it would be Ohio State, Michigan, but it seems like that might not be it. So let me just take a little.
It is.
It is?
It is. Yeah. Next cheapest ticket is like $165, but tickets as low as 296 smackaroos to go see Michigan battle Ohio State on the road.
Yeah, with
Ohio Stadium.
Ohio State is like 90,000, 80, 90,000. Or are they over 100 now? I think they may be over 100.
If they're not over 100, they're floating around right there.
Because Michigan, I believe, is 109.
Didn't they do some stadium improvements recently? Or
Yeah, I think so.
I thought.
I think so.
Something along those lines. That sounds right.
See, no, those stadiums, and Ashley and I are on the
could go
same
see
page.
the number one team in the country battle Georgia Tech for as low as $42. Look at that. I mean, if you were balling on a budget this week, then
yeah, I mean, come on, who wants to go to where's Georgia at Albany or something? Not Albany, but fuck, it starts with an A. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say Georgia Tech. It's in Atlanta. Do you know where Georgia is actually?
Yeah, it's in Athens.
Athens. Okay, I didn't hear you.
No,
but I mean,
good.
one of those with Ashley and I talked about it, going to like those big stadiums, Notre Dame, Michigan, like watching a game there, I feel would be really awesome.
Oh yeah, I feel you 100%.
Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State.
Half of the live football experience is the atmosphere of like a crowd, and the crowds don't get any bigger than in college football. I mean, AT&T Stadium might rival it when the Cowboys are on Sunday night or something like that. But
I don't think, but the fans aren't as passionate,
right? Just the tailgating, all the traditions. I mean, the way people show up to the game, and you know what I mean. Like it's just it feels like a lot more of a passionate take on the game of football, because I don't know how many fair weather fans you really have compared to the NFL.
What's the biggest college game that you went to?
USF West Virginia.
Okay, so
that was my first football game ever.
That was when West Virginia, I believe, was number 5.
Yeah, and then USF beat them, went up to number 2.
Yeah, but Pat McAfee refuses to acknowledge that game.
Oh, of course.
Because he says his national championship was lost because of Pittsburgh. But realistically, they already lost the game to USF that year. But USF fell off and lost 3 or 4 in a row. But
we were in a box for that game, too.
Oh, were you?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I don't remember how my dad got the tickets, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, the biggest one I went to was a Florida State game. You ever been to Florida State?
I have not.
When Florida State's winning?
Gainesville, I haven't been up to Tallahassee, none of that.
When Florida State's winning, Florida State, their fans get pretty crazy, and we were thinking about going to one this year, but 199, and then the Stogies and Spirits thing kind of took that game away. We were going to go to, but who are you taking in Michigan, Ohio State, and especially if you had to take the line? He took the line at 7.5. Michigan's getting 7.5 going down to Ohio State.
Michigan is favored.
No, they're the underdog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Ohio State.
See,
if I had to pick, I'm taking Ohio State. I think being at home is going to give them an advantage. I know Michigan's been good, but
you think it's going to be a touchdown?
No, I think it'll probably be a 3-point game.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm giving you 7.5, so
seems like one of those games, because even when they won, it was clench your butthole kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Unless they just tore them apart at the end of the game. I don't remember.
Well, I'm picking Michigan. I'm taking the 7.5, whether Michigan wins or loses. But that 7.5 is a lot of points on a number 3 too. Usually those games are almost a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Or whoever's at home, that 3-point spread that you usually get, that's definitely that's a big one. And I would say if you're gonna bet it, I'd bet the over. I'd bet the 7.5. That's what I'm gonna do.
What's the over under?
56.5. I think it's going to be somewhat of a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be in the 30s.
Yeah, I think both teams.
I think, are going to hit those 30s. Reasonable. And then Tennessee just fell off. We were talking about earlier.
God, what happened there? Do you think it's just like a morale thing?
Well, I know their quarterback went down, but I think they were already getting blown out by South Carolina at that point. I mean,
we were watching it. Here was the thing: is that Saturday night we were at the Stogies and Spirits, and we were watching the game. And we're standing there and we were kind of talking about it like, man, look at Tennessee, not really in this thing. And then I get home and I see that South Carolina put up 63 points in the hour and 15 minutes that I was driving home, it was like the third quarter when we were standing there watching it.
Yeah, I think
it was what, 28, I think 37 at one point.
I think once the quarterback went down, which I think he got hurt in the third quarter, I think that just deflated the whole entire team.
Yeah.
They're like, well,
it's
shit.
Tough. It's tough.
Yeah, we're going to play tough on the defense. And now we don't have our best quarterback. We got some probably backup jobber. And obviously you saw how that went. South Carolina put up 63. You were saying, too, that there's how many 4-loss teams? A couple, too?
Yeah, in the top 25. I'd have to pull up the list, and I'll be able to tell you.
Which, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
To be honest with you,
Louisville.
considering there's other teams that deserve to be in.
7-4 Texas. I mean, it looks like they're trying to keep those bigger name schools in these rankings because you got Tulane at 9-2. But other than that, I'm trying to think from bigger conferences. Okay, you got UCF who plays USF this week. I'm going to that. That's going to be just a shit show. Cincinnati, those are toward the bottom, and then you pretty much keep all the bigger conferences up toward the top. So I think they're trying to keep those smaller schools out of it.
Yeah, but like why? Like, I mean,
they're not sexy. It's not sexy. You know, it's sexier to have.
That's the thing that kind of
Notre
sucks about
Dame
college
at 8
football.
and 3.
Like
you know,
that's what can suck about college football, because it's not like there is statistical reason to rank these teams the way that they do. Like a win-loss record goes a long way, but I mean, this is just a bunch of, teams that may or may not pass the eye test.
It's a preseason ranking. That's the problem, because they go off the preseason. So they're like, oh, this team was number 4 or 5 in the preseason. They may win 3 or 4. They're still keeping their 4 or 5 ranking. They lose one game, might be close, and then they may drop 10, and then they just start winning again. And it's like, well, they got one loss and they were ranked really high, but they may have not even beaten anybody good.
Right. If you had to predict the playoff,
yeah.
I mean, at this rate, we've got how many more weeks left of college football before they
Well,
figure it out?
let's see. After this week, you got the conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 weeks. And right now, the way it's looking, TCU squeaked by. LSU's at number 5. TCU, they don't play a conference game, so they're going to have to beat Iowa State, which I don't see them losing to. So now you're looking at a Big 12 undefeated team, Michigan, Ohio State. Now, if either one of these teams win, are they going to drop them out, or you think that they're going to almost do a Georgia Alabama, where even though one of these teams don't go into the Big Ten championship, they squeak back in with just that one loss?
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, if the loser of that game still makes the playoff.
It's happened before.
When you've got like USC, they're playing Notre Dame. They're 10-1. Notre Dame is 15. So if USC wins that game, goes to 11-1, and you've got, Michigan. I would say more so Michigan than Ohio State. I know that I hate giving Ohio State credit, but the way that these rankings always work, I feel like they're always going to give a little more favor to an Ohio State, even if they're coming off of a loss like that. But, I mean, shit, if Michigan's sitting there undefeated, how can you I don't know.
Yeah, but you also have a Pac-12 championship game still left.
Yeah, that's fair.
So with USC, even though let's say they beat Notre Dame at number 15, those guys battle. USC still has to have that Pac-12 championship. They still have it. Okay, yeah, it's in Vegas this year. Because now the only one that everyone argues about normally is that the Big 12 does not have a championship game. So Georgia still has to now play LSU, and then Ohio State, Michigan, but they're both going to play each other. So what did Brandon say? Iowa's going to play, so it's going to be Iowa versus the winners of that. I mean, come on, it's Iowa. Yeah. They've already played them, so you're not looking at anything, significant.
What do you mean? Iowa's playing in the Rose Bowl this year.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the teams is going to go to the national championship.
Do you think
or playoffs?
SEC championship? You think Georgia just absolutely rolls LSU?
I don't know, man. I'm up and down on LSU. I actually don't like Brian Kelly. I am too.
You know why? Because I cannot stand goddamn Brian Kelly.
I can't either.
I hate that guy. I hate listening to him talk.
His fake accent?
Well, he ditched that. I mean, that is seemingly gone away. But I saw a clip a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember the context of it, but I think it was something about like the students storming the field. Oh yeah, this is what it was. So a couple weeks ago when they beat Bama, they stormed the field, and he had said, I think after the game he had said, or the next day he had said, let's go ahead and do a whole lot more of that the rest of this year, or something along those lines. And then the next day they fined the university couple $100,000 for everybody going onto the field.
Oh,
because I think the game wasn't technically over yet, or something along those lines.
Well, in the SEC, I believe has there's a rule in if they don't want the students, like they get fined if they go on the field, and then if they take the field goal post, I think it's like a $20,000 fine on the field goal post.
Right.
So,
did Tennessee already lose field goal this year?
I think they lost 2. It was
I know they got one sitting at the bottom of the river somewhere.
Yeah, after the Alabama game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
So he said that on the mic, and then the next day they get fined. They ask him about it, and he's like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. But I kept seeing that clip float around.
Yeah, because he's trying to make himself, look cool at LSU. I was happy when he lost to Florida State the first game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, LSU's down. That's what they all kind of thought. And
that's going to be the difference for them this year, too. Like, nobody's really talking about that team because of a loss that they hate to say they shouldn't have had, but they probably should have had.
And they got blown out. They got blown out by Tennessee.
Yeah.
40-13.
I mean, I feel like when you're a team that wins everything else, though, like that can be the one outlier on your season, because Tennessee up until this week has been a good team. So I guess, I don't know. I
mean, Tennessee did hand it to them, though. But, I mean, they went through. I mean, they lost to Alabama, or they beat Alabama by a point. They close game against Arkansas. I mean, they beat UAB, which is but, I mean, they're going right now against Texas A&M, which hasn't looked good. I think they roll into that. Unless LSU, I mean, this is all going to be on how good he is as a coach. And if he's got his players prepared for playing Texas A&M, which is kind of a letdown game for them if they lose. If they're looking forward to
play, but A&M's just bad.
Yeah, but are they now looking forward to the SEC? Because they're guaranteed it. So do they even care about losing?
I think they would. I think they would want to buy into the idea that they have something to play for.
Because if they win the SEC championship, they're pretty much locked into the playoffs.
Right.
So, I mean, realistically, are they going to kind of take it easy, roll into? Because Georgia's legit, obviously.
I think that's going to be on coaching, like you said. You know what I mean? How ready are they going to be to play? Because if they're out there just checking in, going through the motions, I don't know how well it's going to go for them. Like, I mean, Jimbo Fisher isn't that great of a coach. I mean, we've said that before, right? You don't like giving him credit, so.
Especially Brian. Brian hates him.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Jimbo fan.
Why is that?
He's just a scummy guy. Like I was a Gators fan while Florida State was running wild. And, I mean, he just left them high and dry, I thought.
Well, let me ask you, so who would you rather have coach your team, Urban Meyer or Jimbo Fisher?
At this very moment in time.
Yes.
Jimbo Fisher.
Okay, so you don't hate him too much.
Yeah, I don't hate him that much.
You hate your former coach from Florida who left him high and dry for Ohio State.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? So speaking of coaches leaving teams high and dry, I don't know if we can officially report this, but I think we may be able to officially report.
Well, I was going to jump into that too. I was going to say USF, USF.
Sources have told us here at the Lummy Sports Show.
Unnamed sources
have told us here at the Lummy Sports Show, and we witnessed in person that Deion Sanders said it himself. Colorado and or USF job is not going to happen. I don't know. I think that was in direct correlation to the USF job based off of the info we were given. So can we put that rumor to bed, at least for the time being?
From our confidential source. Thank you, Brett.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like, and I was pretty hurt. I was pretty sad about that. I was going to ask you, coming into USF, UCF, it's a rivalry game. This is the last year for it. Their rumors came out Monday, Tuesday, that USF and Deion Sanders were talking, and I was excited. And I actually was talking with Bubba, and I was like, I was kind of telling him stuff because he's like, oh, there's no way. And I started selling him on it, and he goes, it actually could work.
Right.
And I'm kind of getting excited, and I'm like, it could happen. And Then this confidential informant said, no,
Well,
it's done. They got close, but just he's not going to go there. And I think it's dead.
Here's the thing. I'm curious how close it really did get, because Bubba made a good point. You know, I'm not going to say it's a bad look on Dion. You know, it is a much better track record when you can look at two teams that weren't that much before he got there, especially USF. Like, this is probably an all-time low for the program, don't you think?
Yeah. This is pretty bad. 3 wins in the last 3 years.
Right. I do think USF could have legitimately made a push at Dion, but I just do not think. You know, I think his mind is set up on Jackson State for next year. I feel like the coaching rumors are really going to start to heat up, and maybe he'll, you know, talk to teams a little more seriously next season.
I don't.
You don't? You think this year is the year and he's 100%?
I'm not saying it's the year, but I think if someone threw enough money, which I don't think USF did.
Do they even have it?
Yeah, I think they have it. I mean, they built that really nice practice facility.
Stadium going
all
up
donors.
Now.
The stadium's going to be getting built. I think at this point they need to make a splash. I don't know if in USF's mind, because USF does some wonky things. If USF is going, well, our stadium's 3-4 years out. Do we want to make a splash now? And then when we open the new stadium, maybe Dion then hits, goes to a big time Power 5 because this is a stepping stone. Well, or do they want to get a coach that may take them, make a splash them at the time of the stadium opening up?
Right. I mean, I get that perspective, but I feel like legitimately, if you take your program seriously and you want to compete, you go out and you make those moves and you kind of stick your neck out for a guy that could potentially turn things around. Like, Dion is proving to be a pretty damn good ball coach. And I know Shedeur Sanders is a great quarterback to have, and he may or may not be at USF. I mean, if Dion hypothetically were to come coach at USF, you have to think it's a given they get Shedeur Sanders, right?
Well, yeah, 100%. He'll put himself in the transfer portal.
Exactly.
And maybe even Dion at the time was thinking, if I go, USF is not.
He'll be the greatest quarterback in USF history. The Bulls will be top 25.
There might be some chances for Heisman. I mean, we do play Alabama next year.
And that's the thing, is that Dion would have a legitimate chance, with the Bulls being in a weaker conference and whatever. But, he would have a legitimate chance to make this team ranked and make it better than, show what he can do to bring it out of his lowest point. But
yeah, it's a stepping stone. I mean, look, if Shedeur
I don't think Florida State's going to be in a position to.
No, they're not firing the coach. He's 8-3, number 16. I mean, unless he gets obliviated by Florida and they don't. The bowl game is horrible and the team quits on him. But
8-win season for an FSU team that hasn't won a damn thing
in a while.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know. Unless he's looking at it. I mean, USF also could have been looking at it in this way too. And I'm not saying Dion's obviously relying on Shedeur. I think I would love to have Dion here, and I'd love to. I think he's one hell of a coach.
It'd be cool. He could just roll up whenever he wanted to.
But when Shedeur leaves in 2 years, was USF nervous that Dion's gonna, he may come here, get Shedeur some, because at least it's Division
One credibility, and then look for that big,
and then
power school.
Once Shedeur, is leaving maybe a senior year, he jumps and goes to a different school.
Yeah.
And goes to one of those big, Power 5, as they call it, schools. Maybe something opens up by that point. Texas A&M opens up. Florida State, maybe then after this year, Norvell has 2 bad years. Florida may have a couple of bad years. I mean, Miami's hasn't really done much. I do like their head coach, but you know what I mean? Like, different things open up, and maybe USF just didn't want it. Maybe Dion wanted a lot of guaranteed money. I mean, we don't know, obviously.
Right.
But it just kind of sucks. It took the air out. I was feeling really good. I mean, I'm obviously pretty disappointed because I'm going to the game against UCF, and I was feeling good that, okay, you know what? They may be naming Dion.
I can go watch USF get their ass beat knowing that.
But at that time, it could have been, yeah, well, guess what? Dion, they might have announced on Friday, Deion Sanders is coming to USF. And you got that little bit of a swagger.
No,
Maybe the players play better, too.
Yeah, that's cool, too. I mean, I feel like that's one of those things they would keep in-house until it's officially official.
No, but I'm saying if they announced it. If they announced it Friday, and then you got those sophomores and the juniors, and they're like, we got Deion coming here next year, man. Let's put it on.
I did
gonna be
see
watching.
a statement from one of their directors that they're planning to make an announcement, I believe, no later than December 5th or December 15th.
Yeah, well, they
So
got
mid-December, you know?
They got to do it before the bowl season's
Yeah,
going on,
you're
because
gonna
those
have to.
recruits are going to start now watching. And if you don't have a coach out there and in front of the recruits, well, you guys aren't in a bowl game. And if you don't have a coach in those guys' faces, then you're pretty much just putting yourself way back.
Yeah.
Because if I know it's like USF, and even if it's Central Michigan in the fucking Toronto Bowl, but there's no head coach at USF, and Central Michigan still, at least they're in a bowl game, and December 16th, you're watching them, and you're like, well, I guess I'm just going to go Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck USF. I mean, even though the schools are a little farther apart, but still, you want to see that team on TV. You want to be hearing from the coaches, because realistically, right now, the USF assistants don't know if they're even going to be there next year.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who they hire, they may just clear the whole place out and bring in their own guys. So, I don't know. Since they're not going to a bowl game either, it's been a while for USF even to hit a bowl, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they don't make the right move on a coach, playing Alabama next year is just going to be god awful.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to sit through. I mean, listen, they've played up to their opponents, but obviously different staff, different assistants, different players, different recruits coming in. It's going to be kind of tough. One more question I got about USF, and then if you want to talk about NFL, we could.
Oh, yeah, we're going to NFL.
I got to piss sometime between now and then.
Yeah, you can go anytime you want. 813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-Bubba.
What do you think about that third, fourth string quarterback South Florida's got? I've seen some people pretty high on him.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing that I can't stand with college football is that until he really gets on the field, they've had a lot of prospects at quarterback that come in, they think they're fucking hot shit. You put them in, and pretty much they just shit the bed. So, are you going to pee? Oh, you can hear me? Rhett's got to pee. Rhett has the bladder of Anna. But, I mean, USF, I think they're lost. Unfortunately, USF is one of those college teams that was on a rise. We were in the Big East. We were over all these other different teams. And I feel like the president, Judy Gunshaft, took over. And I feel like she took a lot of the enthusiasm away, especially when Jim Leavitt got fired. I don't like the guy. I thought he was a good coach, obviously, for the program. But when you have the president and the different people for USF kind of putting that ship away, and they started focusing on education, they even changed the logo for their education program, and they were trying to become this like top university in Florida, and athletics didn't really matter. And I can see where different people say, well, athletics don't matter, it's college. But it does help recruiting, and it does help people that actually want to go. You don't want to go to some boring, if you somewhat like sports, it really gets the whole school up. And like right now, it's like USF's down. It's like, okay, what do we have to do? Studies are done. There's nothing to do. And I think they're starting to come back. I think we're just so far behind now. I think we're behind the 8-ball, where UCF has jumped us and all these other smaller schools that we should have had an opportunity. Like we should have been and had an opportunity to hit the Big 12. And for us to get jumped, and our only win this year is against Howard, not even a Division I school, it's pretty sad. So I'm a college football fan, and it's pretty disappointing that the school I graduated from is complete dog shit. But, yeah, like you said, there's always next year. I got season tickets, and hopefully they hire a good coach. And that's why at least, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady.
Yeah, speaking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, they will be in Cleveland on Sunday at 1 p.m., taking on the Browns. And I saw something recently that said Deshaun Watson returned to practice, but he's not going to be playing in this one as far as we know, right?
I believe he comes back the following week.
Yeah. So he is primed and ready. He is in the hopper, if you will, but he will not get a crack at Tampa Bay, which, I mean, honestly, this year the Bucs are coming off of the bye week. They did not play well off of the bye week last year, and they were in the middle of a slump.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Breaking news. Sources at 11:08, so 8 minutes ago, Zach Wilson is benched
Wow.
for the Jets after leading them to a 5-2 start. It looks like they are, because of the last game, New England Patriots, 77 yards, career low, and his refusing to take any blame for the dismal showing by the offense. It looks like they are going to be benching him.
Yeah, that was going to be my point if they didn't mention that. Before we talk about Brady and the Bucks, Zach Wilson and the way he approached his press conference and what he said, especially when they asked him that one question about, did you let your defense down? And he said, no, he lost. I guarantee you he lost 60% of the locker room.
Oh, yeah, they probably were all saying, fuck off.
As a quarterback, you're evaluated on leadership abilities, how you lead a locker room of people. And if there's one thing that, you're going to get called out on in the NFL, it's accountability. And if you are a quarterback, if you're any player, but if you are a quarterback in particular who cannot take accountability, you're not going to fucking last very long in the NFL. And I mean, it's, it's one of those things where I hate to say he was unprofessional, but it's just not what you do, man. Like you're not going to get your teammates to buy into that when you can't. He was shit. He was shit. He was bad.
Well, I guess his quotes to a reporter, this shit is sorry. We're out here looking sorry, and we know that we're not sorry. That's why it really hurts. We know we're better than that. That's why it hurts.
Right. We collectively, we as a unit, at some point you have to communicate beyond, we as a team, because it is a team first sport, but it's also 11 guys on the field at the same time. And even if one of those guys on the field does not do his job, it could fuck everything up for everyone else. And when you are the guy on the field fucking everything up for everyone else for a good bit of the game, you gotta, any sensible quarterback is gonna go in there and recognize it. Who's the king of doing that? The fucker who just got benched in New Orleans.
Jameis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta be better. I gotta be better. I'm letting the team down. I gotta go out there. I gotta work and be better.
This would have proved to be the Zach Wilson. He understands he should have come out for having 77 yards and said, just like even Derek Carr did it. Hey, you know what? This one's on me. My defense went out, busted their ass.
Right.
They kept us in the game. And you know what? I didn't play the best game, but I'm going to improve. And you know what? Next week, let's see what we can do as a team. I'm gonna work my ass off. I'm gonna step my game up. I'm gonna do better for the defense. You know how much that would have rallied around it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your defense is hearing it, like, hey man, you know what, guys, my bad.
That's like quarterback 101.
Yeah, you having that.
That's like,
ego.
did you ever play Superstar mode on the Maddens back in the day? The PS2 Maddens 06, 07. You could get drafted. You could do interviews, and you could.
You could lose the locker room. You could lose,
right.
You
could do radio interviews, and you could choose what to say.
Be like, oh yeah, man. You went this and this. What do you think of your wide receiver? Oh, he sucks.
Yeah, we're out there. Our my whole team just looks terrible.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
got to be better.
And you're losing that.
We're out there looking like crap.
Well, I'm busting my ass, and that's kind of what he did. I mean, he's not like he's going out there throwing 300 yards, throwing 3 TDs every game. He's banging his, mom's friends, allegedly. I mean, look, if you look at his stats, he's 55.6 completion percentage, 1,279 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
And to be honest, too, when you look back at the draft.
4 touchdowns.
You look back at the draft for New York, and they took Wilson. They had another first-round pick. I think it was like 15 or 16. I don't know if you can remember who they picked. But I'll give you a minute to Google it.
What, Mac Jones?
No. The Jets. They had another first-round pick after Zach Wilson.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said who the next quarterback was.
No.
Was it a quarterback?
No. It was I believe it was a corner.
Who was it?
Oh, you'll have to Google it because I literally don't remember his name. I remember nothing about this guy.
Well, hold on. Zach Wilson, man. I mean, I'm looking. He's only got 4 touchdown passes?
Yeah. Yeah, he has been bad this year. Like he has been acceptable when the Jets have been winning games, but he hasn't been what is carrying the Jets this year. When you look at his stats, I mean, $150, $121, $110.
Yeah,
he had that one game where he went off for 355 against New England.
That was a loss, though.
But that was a loss, and that was the only game that he was really out there slinging it around the yard.
With 3 picks, though, that game.
I mean, 25 pass attempts, 22 pass attempts, 21 pass attempts. I think I saw 16 in a game up there. Like, that's not great.
No, that's
not ideal.
I mean, yeah, I think he's a little cocky.
Just a little bit.
I mean,
they gave him a big head over the offseason. All of a sudden, people found reasons on film for him to be like, "Oh, look at this here! Look at why he can be revolutionary."
Now, do you think it was the Jets media, the Jets fans that were just so excited to have like somewhat of a chance to win, but it might be just their defense? Because
the Jets are winning. That's the crazy thing. Is it like they're 7-3 as we speak, 7-4?
Yeah, I believe so. I was trying to look up that little draft pick you had.
Yeah, when's the last time the Jets been 7-4? Like Rex Ryan was their head coach, I think, when they were in that good a shape.
Yeah, when that was the butt fumble.
Yeah, they were doing that with Mark Sanchez. That's the thing, is that they were making the playoffs with Mark Sanchez. So it's like, not to compare apples to oranges here, but it is like they are winning games, and I think they have to hone in on what's winning them games and what's going to continue to do that with Zach Wilson.
Oh, well,
I mean, when he's not playing, they could run that playbook a little more simple in the pass game and still be just as good of a team, if not better.
Well, you're thinking of, and by the way, when you said 15, so I was right actually before Googling this or binging it. Well,
14.
Actually, 14. I'm on Google. I know, but I think you said 15, but whatever, still the same. And that
was actually guard from USC.
Yeah, that was actually Mac Jones. It was Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah,
the guard and number 15. But I mean, I guess you want to scroll down and see who else they could have got. Najee Harris, I guess. I mean, there really wasn't too many more in the first round.
Yeah, I guess that draft class isn't really.
They haven't really come out and.
They really haven't. Now that I'm staring at it, that was 21.
I mean, Jalen Waddle, he's at 6. Jamar Chase, Pitts, those guys went a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not really seeing too much other. Devontae Smith, Justin Fields. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Micah Parsons.
Even Najee Harris
Parsons,
is,
I guess.
I mean, even his rookie shimmer is kind of going away. Pittsburgh has turned on him. They boo him every time he's on the field.
Do they?
Yeah, because he can't run in a straight line. He's one of those backs that, like, he runs side to side, and it costs them yards way too often.
Oh, shit. The guy from Nicole. Fuck. Shit. 863. Why I think of that. Start with a T. Trent Richardson. Same exact thing.
What's up, guys? Hello, Rhett. How y'all doing today?
Good. How's it
What's
going?
up, man?
Good. Well, I got a couple little things. First, the Jets fans are so dumb. They thought they were getting Russell Wilson, which wouldn't matter this year anyway.
No, I think they probably would prefer Zach Wilson over that shit.
I know he sucks this year. And then the other thing I was going to say is it's funny how they won't let, or like you were talking about the ranking on college football, blah, 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 who's like Michigan, like they probably might not, but I know if they lose, they definitely won't. Michigan didn't play anybody, but how many times have you seen a team that is ranked number 1 lose to a nobody team randomly? So to get a team that's, per se, the team they think will win gets in, they got a chance of winning. It's like, I don't know why they put down any team. Everybody's got a chance of winning except for, like, best effort. Yeah.
That was hard to hear.
They said, oh, my bad. It's probably the area I'm in. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right, Track
you're
Meet.
good.
We totally understand. You're delivering the packages for, you're the Santa Claus out there in Lakeland area.
Yeah, well, going through Sebring where you play golf at sometimes at McGillicuddy's or whatever it's called.
Delivering packages for who? Like Amazon, UPS?
The brown one.
Oh.
Yeah. But what I was saying was how they don't want to, like, say Michigan, they say they didn't play anybody. This is what I was getting at. Is a team doesn't get in because they say they're not as good, but how many times have you seen, like, Alabama or LSU or somebody, a really good team, lose to some crap job or school,
No, it doesn't happen often. But I mean, it's still, there's still a chance. I mean, when you start thinking you're number 1 in the, just because you haven't lost to a crap or job or school, or if you have lost to it, I mean, it's all depending on the day. So it just.
And one more thing is you probably paid more attention to the stats of Deion's son. What are his stats? Is he pretty good, or
does he just have some good recruits around him, or I mean,
No.
stat-wise, is he good?
No, he's dropping some
like
dimes
4 or
in
5
there.
touchdowns a game on average. His stats for this season so far. Well, I thought they'd be easier to find. What the fuck?
Shador's at 3,000 yards. He's got 3,063 yards so far, 32 TDs and 6 picks.
Wow. And I'm sure he's got some rushing yards, or is he more of a passer? Is he trying not to take the hit?
Let's see here. If you look at it all,
Go down, hit. Oh, okay, yeah.
Rushing, he's got minus 17 yards and 3 TDs.
All year?
Yeah.
Minus 17 yards.
Sorry,
and
that's 2021. He's got 158 yards and 5 TDs.
Okay.
So he's definitely a throwing quarterback. That's pretty good then, man. I can't hate on him because a lot of times, you get a quarterback like that, they're mostly runners, and this guy's obviously a passer. All right, y'all.
And he's got 1 tackle. He's got 1 tackle also.
On an interception?
Probably. On one of his 6. So his stats are getting better.
Yeah, I mean, 3,000 yards ain't bad anyways. That's pretty impressive.
32 and 6. That's pretty good.
Yeah. See you, buddy.
All right, see you, man. There we go. Jeez. No, Shador Sanders, I mean, from what I can see, people can say that he's playing, obviously, smaller schools, but, I mean, when you're making those throws in certain spots, even if they're covered, it's very impressive, which is why I think in Dion's head, too, if he has said, or Bubba said that he wants to stay at Jackson State and watch Shador through, but to help Shador's draft status, he's got to get that Power 5.
Before we talk about the Bucks here, who's the replacement for Wilson?
It hasn't said it yet. I just went back to the article.
They still have USF legend Mike White?
Yeah, he sucks. But most likely it's gonna be Joe Flacco.
Oh yeah, I forgot they got Flacco.
Yeah, they got Joe Flacco.
38-year-old Flacco.
They're second on the team or veteran.
See, Flacco is perfect type quarterback. Even at his backup status right now, like I feel like that's he's enough of a plug and play quarterback to where you can just fucking still win games.
Oh, it looks like they said that Mike White is a second team on the depth chart, but I can't imagine that they're just gonna have Joe Flacco.
This is his second. This is his second stint in New York. I kind of can.
Really? I mean, really?
This is his second time with the Jets, right?
Well, he was on the team last year.
I thought he had been with the Jets, left, and then came back, or was that another team that I'm thinking of?
He was with Baltimore. I don't even know what fucking Joe Flacco's teams are now. God damn it, Rhett.
I know. Denver.
Joe
He was in
Flacco.
Denver.
Yeah, I mean, he did go to 2 different colleges. Let's see here. Russ right now than Joe. Wow. Grouper Lips, who's a Broncos fan, said he'd rather have Russell Wilson than Zach Wilson.
Can't blame you, partner.
Really?
Oh, he said he'd rather have Joe Flacco than Russell Wilson.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I'd rather have Joe. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I didn't read it. See, Ravens, Broncos, Jets. Hey, you're right, Rhett. Jets, and then he was on the Eagles last year.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Then back to the Jets.
That's the thing, is that 1 year in 2020, and then he leaves, and then he comes back. It's like, I mean, I can't imagine he's going to get that same veteran treatment he got the first time around. Like, they're happy to have him, but, I mean.
Yeah, but is Matt White really even that good?
They won games with him last year. Or last time he played.
1 or 2?
I thought it was 2.
Was it?
And when you're the Jets, that's a lot of games.
That's true. Unlike this year, though. But, I mean, listen, maybe Matt White likes he's actually going to take it in his,
Get to 9 wins, they could. I mean, they're not going to
be more responsible than your boy Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it would.
Now, what were you saying about the Bucs before I rudely interrupted you with that breaking news on Zach Wilson being benched?
Oh, no, you're good. We were just going to talk about the game this week. Bucs at Cleveland, hoping they play well out of the bye week, because in 2021 they had Washington out of the bye week in the middle of a losing slump, and they played their worst game of the year. So, I mean, they won 2 in a row, went from 3-5 to 5-5. Coming out of the bye week, if you go 6-5, then legitimately 3 wins in a row, one of them coming out of the break, I have to believe the Bucs have every reason to be able to go on a little bit of a run to finish out the year. Nothing crazy, but it doesn't sound insane to think that if the Bucs were to win against Cleveland, they could finish the year 10-7. I mean, depending on what kind of Bucs team shows up.
As a sports show that's only on once a week, but the number 1 sports show that's only once a week, on YouTube, Facebook, from any time during the Wednesday day. Looks like there's some breaking news overnight. Police investigating field vandalized
You don't want to talk about the Bucks?
At the
Browns. I guess this does have something to do with
That's what I'm saying.
Bucks. Okay.
So look at this right now. Police are investigating after Browns field vandalized by unknown driver.
Wow. So somebody's going to have to miss Thanksgiving dinner to
They're
fix
working
that
on
shit before Sunday.
But replacing that turf for the Bucks come in, man, that turf's not going to stick, especially in Cleveland. Cold, the grass isn't really going to grow. Or do the Browns play on artificial turf?
I actually don't know off the top of my head. I think they play on grass, though, because I've usually seen their grass get pretty gray. Yeah, First Energy Stadium field torn up by unknown driver. Some guy went in and just did donuts all over the field.
Yeah. How do they not have surveillance cameras or anything? Or maybe they do, but how are we not seeing a video here?
Yeah.
How bad do you think it is?
I thought there were pictures of it on the story.
I just saw, they showed the stadium. Let's see here. As Bubba would say, on a podcast or a YouTube thing, it's pretty easy. You can kind of just hang out. Footage were captured. Oh, here we go. From the helicopter. Click on a link. How bad do you think it is, right? Before we look at the pictures. Come on.
I feel like it's probably not that big of a deal.
How are you going to pre-roll on a fucking picture?
Grown in Idaho French fries.
Well, I mean, but let's see what it says here. Western side of the field, some of the ruts behind, significant in the playing field. Yada, yada, yada. The grass is going to take a little bit of time, which is tough during these.
See, I'm curious to see what kind of tire tracks there are, because usually you can tell the difference if it's like, a sedan or a car, or if it's like big oversized tires, mud terrains, it'll really tear them up,
And great point, K. Dubu. He's at great security. Okay, there it is.
Shit.
Well, now this is from a helicopter, so.
These are the repairs, and there it is. Dude was drifting around.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, he was in a car just drifting around. See, if it was like real, that's the thing, is that doesn't look terrible, because unless they zoom in on it, you almost can't even tell from the helicopter footage. You know what I mean? Like,
you can see it right there. Well, I don't know. It looked a little deep right there.
It does get a little deep, probably when he lost momentum, but those are wide enough turns to where I have to believe.
Yeah, but hold on. You got to think about it. Now, this is coming from a helicopter, and you can see it's down to the dirt. So that's probably got to be a good
I want to believe
6
any
inches?
Car driving on a football field is going to get down to the dirt.
Guy?
Especially if you're in his LL Bean custom
Jordan
Channel 5.
Vanderberg.
Jordan Vandenberg. Jordan. Facebook.com.
Oh, he's not
Jordan TV News.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna pipe it up for a second when he was playing it, but I think that might make a difference on the Bucks game. Because they even say when they're trying to repair the turf during either a big time snowstorm or rainstorm, you know what I mean? The turf just comes up so quick. I mean, the Bucks had some of the best turf during the years before USF was playing. Then when USF and them share the same,
yeah, I know that's been a hot topic.
Yeah, that they got to take up the turf and replace it, and a lot of players are complaining because obviously it doesn't, set. And this is on a, Wednesday, Thanksgiving week. It's kind of cold.
Fuck it. Who cares?
Bucks still win.
Bucks still win. Bucks by 20. I mean, realistically, I if we're throwing out picks for the game, I think the Bucks that we know and love are going to show up this week against a Cleveland team that's been in free fall.
How the fuck doesn't security see that? Like, Brett, you and I go down there right now.
And we try to drive into Raymond James Stadium.
I don't even know where you could drive in because they have those poles that they always put up, and then they have to take the poles
big garage.
down.
They also have the garage doors.
Yeah.
And the big media entrance. Where is it going to be big enough to where you can fit a car? I
know. And where's security? Because it's 24/7 security.
You would think. It's also funny that it is unknown driver. Like, someone did this and got away with it. Like, they started doing it, had enough time to do it, and then drove away.
And that looks like they were out there for a while.
And they are more than likely going to go ahead and get away with it because they're just not going to find that person.
Oh, they're not.
Like, that's so funny.
It was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's who it was.
He took one of his masseuses out there. Was showing off. Was doing little donuts. Oh, hey, look at this. Another from yesterday. Panthers named Sam Darnold starter for the, whoa.
I mean, PJ Walker has not been good.
Well, he's injured. And
Oh, yeah,
Baker was last week. He had 2 passes intercepted and
You've
failed.
seen enough of Baker.
Well, the whole thing is too is, man, look, I was actually pretty. I took the 13.5 against the Ravens, which was actually smart. It was only a 13-3, which it was 3-3 for the longest time. I think until after halftime.
You know,
Ravens did not look good that game.
Speaking of Baker, somebody in chat made a good point. Too bad Baker Mayfield moved out of Cleveland. He could have prevented that guy from doing donuts on his yard.
That's
man.
true.
That was his place.
That's a really good point.
New owners are running it into the ground.
Man, it's pretty sad. Baker already gets 1 game done. I mean, the Ravens aren't a bad team.
No, they're not.
But
they're not.
Now,
they've been up and down this year, but they've been pretty good.
Back to Sam Darnold, though. I mean, I wish we had some Carolina fans or even some Baltimore fans because that was horrible. But 813-90 Bubba.
You know, I got a buddy that may call in. I don't know if I should text him. If that would be lame to text him and tell him to call in. But he's a big Carolina fan. He could try and explain. Maybe he could try.
Well, I mean, we did have one that was one of our number 1 callers, Hinstar, but you know, I know he's a busy guy during these holiday weekends, down probably hanging out with his family.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 813-90 Bubba.
Is he still undefeated in the?
Yes, he is.
I hate to give him that credit, but
I mean, Sam Darnold. I feel like the Panthers just don't know what they're doing, and
I feel like
I don't think you know what. From watching the game against the Ravens, they don't look like that bad of a team.
Well, they got a good core of players. I mean, their defense is talented. It's young. You know, they had that big draft, and a lot of those guys are paying off. You got Brian Burns. You got J.C. Horn. They got another corner, don't they, who got injured?
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty good. I feel like DJ Moore, I don't think he can be a every week number 1. I think they got
rid of his old sidekick, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, that guy fucking blows. I mean, he hasn't done shit since going to Arizona either, right?
Yeah, no, and he hasn't done shit since Teddy Two Gloves with throwing the ball 10 times a game.
Yeah.
That was a great fantasy pickup.
Oh,
back in the day.
I bet. Hell yeah.
But I mean, does the Panthers believe that Matt Corral or Matt Corral, whatever the hell his name is, the future from Ole Miss?
I think depending on what you see this week from Sam Darnold, you could see Corral come in.
But why wouldn't
before
you?
The end of the year. But I think they made a decision and they kind of, you know, announced without announcing that they're just going to go ahead and move on from Baker and pretend that never happened at the end of the year.
Yeah, but now are they buying the hype on PJ Walker, XFL superstar?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe they find a way to keep him around as a third string guy that you can, you know, work into the playbook or whatever if they want to get cute. But that's going to depend on the coaching staff too, because he'll be on the roster next year unless he's on a 1-year deal.
No, I think he'll be on the roster. Yeah, like you said, it also depends on who they bring in.
Right. You know, those guys could have their backups that they want. That's how it happens. That's how Blaine Gabbert has been in Tampa for as long as he has.
Yeah, no shit. Brian's not here, but Brian be like, that's the worst thing I've ever. I'd rather have my grandma playing blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, man. The Sam Darnold thing just kind of confuses me. I mean, if anything, if the Panthers are kind of giving up the 3-8, they've traded some of their players, obviously McCaffrey's and the 49ers. Why wouldn't they start their rookie just to see what they have? Get him a little bit of experience?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
What better time than now? They're coming off of a win, aren't they?
No, they lost to Baltimore 13-3.
Oh, you're right. You just told me about that. Who do they have this week?
They came off a win before that against Atlanta.
And they got Denver this week.
Which that could be a win because Denver sucks.
Could be.
Russell Wilson can't find his, ass from his, head or whatever.
Can't find his mojo, man.
Mojo. I don't think he even has mojo.
None left.
I mean, Cooper Lips is a big time Denver fan, and he's pretty much given up after week 1. So I don't know. Russell Wilson is just.
Jets will start Mike White this week. I just got the update from Ari Myrov on Twitter. Zach Wilson to the bench. So it'll be Mike White, USF legend, taking on the Bears. And that could be an interesting game for New York. Who do you pick in that game? Chicago, New York.
By Chicago. Well, I don't know because
Chicago fucking folded last week.
Well, Fields got hurt too.
Yeah, that's true too.
So, I mean, have they given an injury update on Fields?
I haven't seen one just yet, no.
I wonder if they're keeping that close to the that's what they're doing. Day to day with injured shoulder. But he was eating them up on the on the rushing yards. The last 2 weeks?
Yeah,
I don't know,
I mean,
man.
That's been his biggest highlight so far. He had that one, didn't he? Like he ran for a good 70, 80 yards on a carry the other week. Yeah,
but I mean, so if Fields doesn't start, you got Trevor Seaman. I mean, do you trust Seaman to spread his seed around?
I believe he's also a former New York Jet, if I'm not mistaken.
Trevor Seaman?
Yeah, it could be a revenge game for him.
That's true.
I thought he was a Jet for like 5 minutes.
I feel like that guy's been around a lot. I feel like Seaman's been around.
Seaman gets everywhere.
It seems
if you're not careful, it really does. And if you're really not careful, it could cost you a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, let's see here.
Broncos,
which I think you know what? He's costed a lot of teams a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Broncos, Vikings, Jets,
Tennessee Titans,
2019.
Yeah.
Saints and Bears. Oh wow.
Trevor Seaman revenge game. He's coming, New York, and he's coming all over.
Yeah, Seaman's coming quick. Unavailable.
Hello?
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 I'm here to talk Panthers football.
Oh shit. All right, cool. So how do you feel about the quarterback position? They announced that Darnold's getting the start this week, and we know that PJ Walker hasn't been awesome, but what do you think the Panthers organization is going to do? You think they made it clear that, Baker's not the guy and they're going to move on? Like, what does that offseason battle plan look like to you?
Listen, the Panthers, we're all used to having a franchise quarterback in Cam Newton. And when he left, you tell me, would you have a struggling Baker Mayfield or a struggling Sam Darnold?
I don't know. I'm trying to have flashbacks to the Jake Delhomme years with the Vinny Testaverde years with the Panthers. You guys stuck it out with them.
Jake Delhomme took him to a Super Bowl, did he not?
Yes, he did.
It's just like staying with the mediocre girlfriend that you could do better.
Right.
That's the situation the Carolina Panthers are in.
Yeah, but you guys got Matt Corral.
Matt Corral was he broke his foot, I believe.
Still? Is he still out?
He's still out. He's out for the season.
Oh, what a pussy!
Oh, I had
know.
no idea.
So now we're juggling quarterbacks with good old basically a Zach Wilson of the Jets, Sam Darnold, and then Baker Mayfield, who honestly can't make the throws to win the game.
Yeah, so you've definitely seen enough of Baker to know that, this isn't even a Matt Rule thing. This is just a Baker sucks ass kind of thing.
The quarterback room and the Panthers are all first-round picks that haven't lived up to their expectations.
That is a good point.
Oh, yeah, but not P.J. Walker.
Hey, P.J. Walker, XFL legend, buddy.
But he was in the first-round pick, though.
But it's just, come on. It's just like, as a Panthers fan, we're all here just waiting for the draft.
Well, okay. All right, put your little GM hat on. Who the fuck are you going to draft this year from the quarterback position? That's going to change the Panthers.
In Bryce Young, we trust. If the Texans go C.J. Stroud, the Panthers are grabbing Bryce. If the Texans go Bryce, we're grabbing C.J.
So you think you're going to be number 2?
I say 2 to 3. Unless the Rams lose it all and they go 1, that means the Detroit Lions have the first pick because of the trade with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, but it seems like the Panthers are still fighting for it, though. Because, even the Bears are 3-8. So, realistically, I know the Bears aren't going to take a quarterback, but the Broncos, the Raiders, the Raiders may move on from Derek Carr if they tank it. The Raiders keep losing.
To the Panthers, it would be like Baker Mayfield going to the Panthers.
No, I'm saying if the Raiders keep tanking it and they just say we're done with Derek Carr, they could be up for a quarterback too. They're 3-7.
I don't see the Panthers winning any games. They're more so a trap team.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. Listen, here in Tampa Bay, we've experienced that one before. Look, listen, we thought we were, besides when Jameis when we tanked it for Jameis in Atlanta. We've thought we'd have the number one pick, and the players actually step up because they don't want to fucking wait on number one. I mean, I don't see the Panthers the way they played against the Ravens. I don't see them in the defense tanking any games. Now with the Raiders, I mean, look, they're struggling. They can't even fire their coach because they can't afford to pay him. So, and if they're like, look, we're going to trade Derek Carr because Derek Carr is still young enough to get rid of, which they probably won't, but that could be also another where they bring a high draft pick quarterback in to back up Derek Carr in case Derek Carr is, doing what he's doing.
There was some speculation that a possible trade might go down with Green Bay and the Raiders again and swapping a QB.
But and I'm just looking at the record right now. Another one too that could also trade up. They have draft picks is the Colts. The Colts could want to look for another quarterback. I don't think they're going to put their either trust in
Ellinger
or Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean Matt Ryan's had the job. How did he play last week, by the way? Because I know they came up short.
He actually didn't play too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a low-scoring game.
I mean, that nigger.
What?
What?
Hello?
Okay. I don't know what was just said.
I don't know.
Matt Ryan, we were talking about.
Yeah, Matt Ryan is.
And yes, Devontae Adams would be pissed off if the Raiders did get rid of Derek Carr. So I don't think Derek Carr will go next year. I don't think Devontae Adams went there and they're going to get rid of Derek Carr. I'm just saying that the Raiders may draft a quarterback at that point to back up Derek Carr because I don't know who the backup. Do you know who the backup is currently in Vegas?
It's not Peterman, is it? I thought he was still there.
I am not sure because I know Derek Carr. Let's see here. Roster. Stidham.
Jared Stidham, Patriot legend. He was supposed to be the future after Brady.
Yeah, since they did get rid of Mariota, who's actually having a pretty good year in Atlanta.
Yeah, but I think Atlanta's going to move on. I mean, I just don't think he's been consistently good enough for Atlanta, a lowly team, to want to hang on to it. I don't know. Maybe he's a cheap option for another 2 or 3 years, but I don't know. You're not going to win much with him.
I guess we'll see. I guess we will see.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, Lummy. There are 3.
I was
NFL
actually going to pull those
games
up now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. So the Bills are playing. Cowboys are playing. Or I'm sorry, yeah, the Cowboys are playing. So Bills at Lions, 12:30 p.m. And then Giants at Cowboys, 4:30 p.m. So some in-division action. And then the Patriots at the Vikings at 8:20 p.m. So an AFC-NFC matchup. Pats Vikings could be interesting, but let's talk about Bills Lions first. The Lions got the win last week, and
I'm wondering. I'm wondering how Dan Campbell is going to kind of talk his team up. Detroit plays every Thanksgiving, and a lot of times on Thanksgiving, I've watched all those games. Detroit has not looked good in a long time. I'm wondering what Dan Campbell has to say.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you asked. You got to carry the momentum that we won with last week.
2 in a row, there, Dan.
It's
2 in a row.
Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving. Listen, there's a lot of fucking ways to cook your turkey. All right, you could fry it, you could bake it, you could baste it, you could grill it if you wanted to. That's my personal preference. But frying it gets a little sketchy. But listen, you got to be ready to come in here and fucking set yourself on fire. You got to come in on Thanksgiving and be the turkey. You got to be what the rest of the NFL is looking at on the table the fucking day of Thanksgiving, all right? The entire world is watching, and you know that this organization has not played well, but you know what? That shit can change. It is not too late to turn this team around. At 4-6, how the fuck are we going to do that? Huh, Jared? You keep balling the fuck out, all right?
Or the defense plays good there. I mean, listen, you're 9.5 points underdog.
Yeah, we're playing the Bills, but
Sell
who
me-
fucking cares,
sell
buddy?
me
All right,
as- sell me as a better.
We'll play the fucking Bills in 6 foot of snow. All right, that's the thing about the Detroit Lions. We're not pussies to where we got to relocate and come play down in Detroit because there's a little bit of snow. All right, we'll fucking go to Buffalo. We'll play this game in Buffalo if we have to. We'll play in 7-8 feet of snow. All right, we'll fucking win.
Well, thank you.
Go Lions.
Thank you, Coach. I'm unfortunately after that talk, I'm still gonna take the Lions plus 9.5. I don't see the Bills are very good. They haven't played the best lately, but they played some tough teams. And the Lions are on a 2-game win streak. They're on a high. They're going to be at home. The Bills are shuffling back and forth. I'm taking Lions plus 9.5.
Wow.
What are you about you, Rhett?
As much as I want to buy into the light yourself on fire speech by old Coach back there.
Yeah, I know. Cooking different turkeys. I do appreciate that one.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of production. I think if Josh Allen struggles, it could be an either way game. But I do think the Bills right the track against Detroit this week. Like you said, Detroit never really plays well on Thanksgiving. It's a short week for them, and I want to think that if the Bills drop a game to the Lions.
Well, no, but you hold on.
Season,
But you're 9.5 points. Do you take the Lions 9.5?
Oh yeah,
you can think the
I
Bills
think
are going to win.
I think it'll be a lower scoring game.
I think the Bills are going to win. I just don't see the Lions losing by 9.5. I see it being because it seems like the Lions like to keep a lot of games close. They're playing at home in Detroit. The Bills traveled now back and forth because they did fly home after playing in Detroit last week.
Yeah,
I see it being about a 7 point game.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So you're taking Lions in 9.5?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think the Lions right now, they have 2 really good running backs. Swift hasn't really came from his first 4 games, like how he just blew up.
Yeah.
But I think that they're going to keep working him back in. Giants, Cowboys.
Giants at Cowboys.
Now, this is which
Dallas
these
favorite.
Lions, man. These Lions. 9.5.
That's pretty wild, to be honest with you.
I know the Cowboys came out, throttled the Vikings. Right? Do you see this game getting that out of hand where the Cowboys beat the Giants by 10?
I don't know. It's a division game, and those are tough, right? It's always hard to put up a shit ton of points when you're playing in the division. It can be tough. I don't know. I do.
How's Danny Dimes playing, man? Is Danny Dimes going to go out and drop some dimes?
That's what I think it's going to boil down to. And also, Dallas is playing at home, and their defense has been hot. So, if you can shut down Daniel Jones, which isn't super tough to do, but you can shut down Saquon Barkley, and your run defense can step up and slow down New York, and they don't have a way to put up points. I think this could. I think this could get out of hand.
Do you think this could be another Vikings? Because, look at it. Dak, Ezekiel, Pollard, all those guys were stepping up last week.
I know Tony Pollard fucking playing circles around Zeke. It's incredible. Yeah, I don't know if New York's going to have an answer for Pollard. That's going to be what the difference is in this one. But I do like Dallas.
So you're taking Dallas and giving 9.5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Danny Dimes with his legs, Danny Dimes with his arms. He's going to be dropping dimes everywhere, whether it's out of his pockets or with his arm. I'm taking Giants plus 9.5.
New England, Minnesota. That game is in Minnesota, 8:20 p.m. Thursday night.
Minnesota
Vikings,
coming off that tough loss.
Tough loss. Vikings favored by 2.5. I like the Vikings all over this one. I gotta think
they bounce back.
Yeah, unless they really are shams, it's gonna be tough for, because they're 8-1 now, 8-2, 8-2,
8-2.
Yeah, an 8-2 team coming into this. I know New England is coached well and they're gonna play well and they do have a little bit of a better defense, but I just don't think they can keep up. I think this is one of those weeks where Justin Jefferson goes off again. We're talking about him at the end of the day.
Now the point spread with the over and unders too. It's 42.5. It's the lowest of all Thursday night games. So I think they're relying on that Patriots defense and their slow-moving offense to kind of quell the Vikings.
Right.
2.5, and it's a low spread too.
It's a ball control type of football game, right? Time of possession. Like whoever wins time of possession may or may not win the game.
I mean, but just Kirk Cousins, pull his minivan up, get out, get confident, throw 4 or 5 TDs. I mean, Dalvin Cook didn't do anything against the Cowboys.
I don't know if he's throwing 4 or 5 TDs, but I do think you could see some production out of Justin Jefferson. Like I think he's for sure getting 100+ yards.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. That 2.5. I'm gonna have to say I'm probably gonna go with the Vikings.
I like Minnesota by a touchdown.
Yeah. So you're going Vikings minus 2.5. I'm going Vikings minus 2.5 too.
Love it.
Then maybe that will break your. I think you did 1-1 last week.
I had one. So the fucking Jets pick was a great pick until the last 5 seconds of the game.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, it was 3-3. The spread was, what was it, 3.5?
It was 3.5.
Yeah, so it's like, it wasn't that terrible of a pick until that final play. Let me pull up the list here. I had the Jets over the Pats. I had the Raiders over Denver, which was great.
That did hit.
It last minute too. It was coming down to the wire. And then I had Minnesota over Dallas, which is probably the worst pick I've ever made in the history of the sports show.
I didn't take it on here, but I took Dallas in my betting, which I was really happy about. Let's go with 2 other ones. We don't have to count them, but do you have any? The Browns Bucks. Are you back on the Bucks bandwagon? 3.5.
Oh yeah, 100%. Bucks by 10, baby.
Bucks by 10. You heard it first. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bucks. Even though there's tire tracks all over Cleveland, I'm taking the Bucks. I think they pull it out by a touchdown, maybe more. And if you're looking at any other ones, I think the Raiders will stick on the roll. Plus 3.5. Going to Seattle. Yeah, it's gonna be tough playing up there, but I'd bet on the Raiders. I'd take 3.5. I think Derek Carr and Devontae Adams kind of got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I appreciate, Rhett. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lummy.
Next week, we'll be back. Maybe Babyface will be off his cruise by then. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Rhett, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too, buddy. What are you doing? I don't even remember your
hosting. We're hosting Thanksgiving. All the family's coming over to our house, and we're cooking.
Well, that'll be a good time. You guys have fun. Enjoy yourself.
You too, and don't forget the new hats are out. New Flex Fit, Straight Bill, the Warsaw Tigers, Cincinnati Bengals, whatever you want to do. The new orange and black hats the snapbacks are in. Go to Bubba Army merch, BubbaArmyShop.com. Also, the camo shirts. I have one, and they are super comfortable, and they are very warm. We are back live Monday, twitch.tv/The Bubba Army. We will have best ofs tomorrow and Friday. I really hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy football, eat a lot, and we will see you back here Monday. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day and the rest of the week. See ya.